read that you are a strict non-smoker, but it happens here that you do smoke a lot in this movie. And in Rounders, for example, you wrote again your role in order not to make warm smoking. So how can you tell me about that?
Well, it's not so much. I think I'll do anything, but I think if there's not a good reason for it, then I'd rather, in Rounders I thought about how much I would have to smoke, and I thought I'd rather chew on a toothpick. But in this, a big part of I think one of the things that really made Wes and I laugh when we looked at the photographs of the Boy Scouts from the 60s is like 80% of the photographs you see the men are all standing there like with a cigarette in their hands. It was so funny. We had to do it.
Tell me about your childhood in terms. Were you following a like Boy Scout code of life, or you were just chasing girls or running for love, or?
No, I grew up in a city, so the Boy Scouts seemed like very far away to me.
Okay, and here in the movie is set in the 60s, and what's your take on 60s look? And would you consider wearing short trousers like your character? And
probably it's not what I'll wear, on the Croisette here or in Milan. I don't think like my fashion friends would approve, but the 60s. It's interesting. The 60s are a lot of things because people associate it with. In America, people think of the counterculture revolution and Vietnam, but in the early 60s, in a way, it was more like the 50s. And I feel like in this film, there's a kind of innocence that's almost more like the 50s before the upheavals of the 60s.
You said growing up in the city, but how are your surviving skills? Can you build a fire? Can you?
I could definitely live in the wilderness. Yeah.
You could live in the.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Tell me this. I have to ask you this. Actors sometimes have superstitions, and they do something before shooting in order to improve their role. Do you have any superstition? Any kind of
on film sets? I don't. In the theater, there's some superstitions. There's one play of Shakespeare. You can't say the name, and you're not supposed to whistle. I don't know if you that one, but I used to work with older actors in the theater, and sometimes I would start whistling. And this one older lady, an Irish actor I worked with, she would go, "Stop doing that." And I finally tried to find out what that was about, and I finally found out that it was because in the Elizabethan theater, the people who did the ropes and the rigging to bring scenery up and down were sailors, because they were the ones who knew how to do. They were out of work sailors, and sailors in the marine and things, sailors communicated with whistles. So if you whistled in the theater, you might be bringing something down on someone's head.
Mm-hmm. And my last question, you said this job puts you back in loving the real acting stuff when in previous years. I mean, when you were a kid, what was your poster on your wall in your room?
What film posters did I have?
Film or Idol or?
Well, I had let's see. I had a poster of The Clash. I think I had a Bruce Springsteen poster, a lot like your T-shirt, and I think my sports team, my baseball team. Trying to think if I had any film posters early on. I probably had a Star Wars poster on my wall at some point. I do seem to remember that. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.